All right, Anne-Marie. So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture and aligning your shoulders with your hips, your ears with your shoulders, and just take your attention to the crown of the head and just soften the whole body. Just relax the whole body. Noticing the sensations of the breath as you inhale and exhale. Being aware of the sounds, various sounds, smells in your environment, just allowing all of that to be there. Be aware of what's going on in your mind this evening. Just allowing all those thoughts to be there. Be curious about what's there, but try not to follow it too much. Making up a story, believing in it, acting on it just gets us into trouble. So Lama Yeshe said in this, is this a section on karma in the Lamrimriya book, Making Life Meaningful Day by Day. We see the problems of the people we're with, but we don't see our own. We think we're pure. Such are the limitations of the samsaric mind. That's why I feel happy when we recognize that we need purification, that there is something we can do to improve our lives. I consider that to be some kind of realization. We recognize that since our own mind created the negative experiences that we have, our own mind can counteract them. This is the main point. And that's mentioned in the first paragraph of our practice. And then in the next chapter, Lama Rinpoche used this analogy of this idea about these negative karmas that we create. You know, they're little negative karmas. You know, we accidentally lie to a person, or we pick up a pen that doesn't belong to us in the post office, although now they're all tied down. And we don't think a huge amount of it. I mean, Lama Rinpoche said if you had a cobra in your lap, you'd be getting rid of that as fast as you could. So he said to try and see our negative karmas. Well, we should try and fear our negativities as much as we would fear a nest of cobras in our lap. So I kind of quite like that, because it does sound a little bit dramatic, but according to Rinpoche, we should be as afraid of our negative actions as we would be if, we woke up and found a cobra in our lap. I think that's great somehow. Anyway, not to motivate you with fear, however. Okay. So just think, there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so, having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart, having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest are the cause of why we harm others. And then think, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to this power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor who has the methods that we can use to purify. And we're not thinking about Vajrasattva as like a higher power. We're thinking of him more as a doctor and his methods as medicine. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head, and you can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And he has a beautiful, radiant face, and his eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. And the left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And so this little section on compassion comes underneath reliance, under the main heading reliance, because in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So the very beings we've harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then think about those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And now we come to this power of remedy, and this is the medicine doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hom ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe excuse me. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is this purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time it forces up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by the powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawa sidi mempi yatta sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe, and vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, sawa sidi mempi yatta sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. So be really happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind. Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends light, powerful light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine you've walked into a room, you flick on the switch, and the light that comes just instantly dispels the darkness in the room. So you imagine the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your depression and anxiety and neediness and bitterness and grudges and anger and disappointments and jealousy, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorakta meboa sawasidi mempi yatta sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mempi yatta sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mempi yatta sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mempi yatta sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mempi yatta sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mempi yatta sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mempi yatta sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. So be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified, and think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next, we purify even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So, we at the beginning, we purified the negativities of the body with this nectar, coming from the top down, and then the speech, nectar from the bottom up. And then imagine the light dispelling all the delusions. So you imagine this final suite, all of this happening at the same time. It's kind of busy. Just do the best you can. And this kind of light and nectar fills you and completely eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from the mind as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So now feel that you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve, and this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. And it's really crucial, this step, because this is where we need to make a decision to change our habits. And in this way, we are making a decision to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. So unless we actually decide to do something and decide to act on it and make a plan, nothing's going to happen. So I can imagine that I'm going to fly to Hawaii, but I'm not going to get there unless I actually look up a ticket and purchase the ticket and make plans to go. So in the same way, we need to make a plan. We'll make a decision. Okay, so I want to refrain from harming. And then we might, like you might choose which airline you want to fly with, we might choose something to identify. So we identify the airline according to our needs. Do I get free baggage? Is there food on the plane? Is there plenty of room? Are these seats more comfortable than those seats? So we make a decision about something that you have a habit to do. I think for most of it's in our mind. We ruminate and we give ourselves such a hard time. So we probably could start there just by identifying what's going on. Maybe other people have told you about certain habits that you have that you maybe not super aware of. And as I've suggested before, you can journal it. This way, it's kind of encouraging to see where you've come from and where you're going to. You can see how you've made some progress. And when we make a decision like this, we make a determination, gives us some kind of strength to change, gives us guidelines. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. Next, Rinpoche would talk about meditating on emptiness. So we think in emptiness, there is no I, the creative negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So just place your mind, whatever you understand emptiness to be, place your mind there, even if it's just the word. So we think of all phenomena as being empty. And being empty means that they don't exist from their own side. They don't exist the way we think they do. So we'll dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do chanting the names of Manjushri. Oh, got these mantras. Oh, didn't we have mantras? Where are they? Here, I think we were up to mantras. Yeah. A, I, U, I, A. O, Ao, Am, A, Chito, Shri, Jana, Murtir, Aham, Buddho, Buddhanam, Traya, Dva, Vatranam. On Vajra Tikshna, Dukkha, Sheda, Prajna, Jana, Murtae, Janakaya, Vagisaba, Pachanaye, Te Nama. Okay, for those Sanskrit scholars in there, I'm sorry if that hurt your ears. And we're up to chapter 5, the great Vajradhatu mandala. And so he is the blessed one, the Buddha, awakened, fully born of the letter A. He is the letter A, the foremost phenom, supreme most syllable with meaning great. Okay, that's it, I guess, for tonight. All right, everybody. Lots of love. I look forward to seeing some of you in the morning at 6:30. Okay, nice to see you all. Thank you for hosting, Shayla. Lots of love, everybody. Good night, sweet dreams. Kimberly, I hope you're awake. She's probably asleep. All right, everybody. Good night, everyone. Lots of love.